For nearly 40 years, our next guest has been the face of hard rock and heavy metal, forming friendships with rock legends and promoting their music the world over. He DJ'd the wedding of Tommy Lee and Heather Locklear, broke up a fight between Axl Rose and David Bowie, and was a video jockey for MTV's Headbangers Ball. MTV debuted on August 1st, 1981, which makes 44 years this Friday. So in celebration, here's an in-depth look into the life and career of Riki Rachtman, whom I spoke to before his last appearance in Houston.
It's the first weekend of a new year, the beginning of a new decade. They say the 90s are going to be kinder and gentler. They have no idea what we've got planned here. We travel far across the globe to Rio de Janeiro, New Orleans. You know we're not in Egypt, we're in Lubbock, Texas. The Headbangers Ball is going to be in Japan.
Riki, we are used to interviewing all kinds of iconic rock stars, but interviewing you is like interviewing all of them at the same time. You work with some of rock's biggest names during the most notorious era.
You mentioned some of those rock stars, and some of them were just my friends before they were rock stars. It's like, you know, I never expected Axl Rose to become one of the biggest rock stars in the world. These people were just friends of mine, and because I owned this club called Cathouse, all these people used to hang out there, and then some of them who weren't really big got really big. And then, you know, when I started working at MTV, I got to meet so many people that were idols. I'm nothing but a glorified rock and roll fan. So when they used to tell me like, hey, you have to go interview Aerosmith or AC/DC or Ozzy Osbourne, I'm like, really? Like, I used to pay for the tickets, and now I'm interviewing them all over the world.
Yeah, and you've been a rock and roll fan almost from the get-go. You grew up in Hollywood. Your mom was a teacher. Your dad managed bands. And at 13, you discovered this guy named Alice Cooper, and you wanted to also be a rock star.
My mother, the school teacher, is who I lived with. My father, I didn't live with, and he was like the rock manager and stuff like that. And as much as my mom would like me to gravitate towards the education side, I went towards the rock and roll side. And when I discovered Alice Cooper as a kid, to me, it was like a superhero. It was like, wow, here's this guy that he has a snake around him, he has makeup. And that was what attracted to me. And then it was, you know, only reading magazines. You didn't have easy access to everything. And then I discovered his music and found out that he had songs. And that was what it took. I mean, I'll be honest with you, before that it might have been the Jackson 5 and the Partridge Family, but it was Alice Cooper that really got me into rock and roll.
There was a full circle moment with Alice Cooper too, because there was like a concert you wanted to go to, your dad was like, no, I wanted you to do something or whatever, and tell us what happened with that.
I wanted to see Alice Cooper, and I got bad grades, and at the last minute my father said I couldn't go to the show. But then you move ahead about 20 years, and at my club, the Cathouse, Alice Cooper puts out a song where the first lyric is, "It ain't the way she crawls across the Cathouse floor." And then Alice Cooper is playing at my club for Halloween, and I know Alice Cooper. It's like when I got engaged to my fiance in Paris when Alice Cooper was playing, and I wouldn't introduce her as my fiance to anybody until I saw Alice Cooper. So I can always remember the first time she was ever introduced as my fiance was to Alice Cooper.
All right, the Cathouse. You mentioned that a couple of times. You say you really kind of did to hang out with friends, get free drinks, and meet girls before you met your fiance, of course. But it started slow, and then what's nice about this story is that it gained its traction almost naturally, right? And then it became this underground moment that was only for the people who were truly in the know. But it seemed like it was very organic. Sometimes people would just stop by. You never knew who was going to walk through the doors.
Absolutely true.
To the Cathouse, as you can tell, madness outside, decadence inside. You're just gonna have to go and you're just gonna see yourself.
I was just this young punk in Hollywood with no intentions of building something that 37 years later we're still selling Cathouse t-shirts, or people are still curious about it. It was not set up with publicists and managers. It was like, hey, this might be kind of fun. Let's try this. And then the next thing you know, all the biggest rock stars in the world, and not only rock stars are coming to my club. I mean, Cher, Michelle Pfeiffer, Malcolm Forbes, who was like the richest man in the world, shows up at the Cathouse. It's because we kind of had this no attitude feeling in the Cathouse that I never allowed cameras in there. So I let everybody be as comfortable as they wanted, and it really didn't matter. I mean, yes, the Cathouse had a reputation of this like raunchy, sleazy place, but you didn't have to be like that to have fun. We were just this accepting, big, dirty, sleazy rock and roll place. And when it was open, I had no intention of creating something that's people are still interested in today, which I'm very, very proud of.
Well, the fact that you didn't allow cameras in meant that the stories were even bigger, because if we had cell phones back in the day, it would have ruined the whole thing quicker. But you have all kinds of memories there that you use in your show. You're heading to Houston. What can we expect in your show?
I think you can expect the unexpected. I go up there and I tell a lot of rock and roll stories and a lot about having it all and losing it all, what it was like hosting Headbangers Ball at MTV, what was it like working with these rock stars.
You know, it's very, very loud. What? I'd like to welcome Chris and Kurt of the band Nirvana. Love the suit.
It's Headbangers Ball, so I thought I'd wear a gown.
Dress for the ball.
You don't believe this is Ozzy's farewell tour, do you?
But I also talk about some bad choices I made that made me from a, six-figure person to being bankrupt selling cars, going to jail for fighting. I had a crazy drug addiction and alcohol. And, I don't talk about that a lot on social media, but I do talk about it on my show, which is kind of interesting because 2 days ago was my 35th sober anniversary. So
Congratulations.
I don't make it, thank you. I don't make it like this preachy type thing, but when I hear that people got inspiration from my show, it's very, very flattering. I think that the show sort of shows you never know where your life's gonna go. I'm old and I got a mohawk and I'm going on tour in a van for the first time in my life. You never know when you're gonna have the best time in your life, so you just gotta be ready.
You gotta be ready, you gotta be open to it, because there are several times in your life, you hosted the Headbangers Ball, things were great, that ended abruptly, you left MTV, and I always tell people, whatever you're leaving, it means that there's something next. And sometimes we think it's like when we leave something, that's it, life is over. It's not, to your point. There's always something next, and sometimes it's good stuff, sometimes it's bad stuff, but it's all part of your life story and your resume to handle what comes next.
Sometimes I think about some of the worst things that have happened in my life, and if they didn't happen, it wouldn't have steered me towards something that was really good. Why did I lose this job? Why did I not get that job? But because that happened, it might send you into a direction of something very, very positive. You never know. I mean, I never expected that at this stage I'd be going out on tour in a van, and it's the coolest thing in the world. I love this so much.
Yeah, sometimes simplicity is even better, right? But it also tells you what you're made of. And it's like, you still gotta eat, you still gotta have a place to stay, you figure it out.
Well, I was a big TV show, I became a big radio host, and then when those ended, I was in an apartment with the power turned off. I mean, it really, really got to be a low point. And I talk about that a little bit in my show. There's also a lot of the raunchy, shocking stories about rock and roll. There's been a lot of books that talk about that scene, but I talk about what really happened because it happened in my club and I was there. So the show kind of goes in all different directions, a lot of video, a lot of photos, and it's a lot of fun. I love doing it.
I want to round out with, sometimes when you go through crises in life, it creates a heart of service. You and your wife have a nonprofit that you are very proud of, and you want to uplift others.
Yeah, what we've done is every single year we've gotten on our motorcycle and ridden, I'd say about 15,000 miles in the summer, and we've always picked a different charity that we've raised, whether it was $32,000 for Stop Soldier Suicide or $28,000 for the Alzheimer's Association. And when we do a charity, we give every single penny to the charity. We don't take the money out for our hotels or gas. I don't publicize it. I don't have, the press release showing me with the big check giving it to somebody. But my little motorcycle rides have raised almost $250,000. I'm a biker. I like this crazy metal. But when you give a check to a charity for a lot of money, I get a little teary-eyed. It's really, really incredible. And the reason I do it is I'm selfish. It makes me feel really good.
Thank you very much for sharing your journey with us. And I just want to say, hey, Riki, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Riki. All right, for more information on Riki Rachtman or the history of MTV, visit greatdayhouston.com for links and additional stories.